So hello guys, welcome back after a very long time. So basically I graduated. It's a story for another day. My name is Dr. Arumun and today we're going to be talking about how to get the Russian medical license or the Russian primary accreditation. Okay, so first of all, what is the Russian medical license and what can you actually do with the Russian medical license? Stick to the end of this video and we're going to be explaining everything about how to get a Russian medical license and the people that are qualified to even sit for the Russian medical license. Alright, so the Russian medical license or the Первичная врачебная аккредитация is a document or a license that allows you to practice medicine in Russia as a general practitioner. You can also use this to get into training. For example, if you studied outside or inside the country and you want to get into their residency programs or their specialization, you're going to need the Russian medical license to be able to work in the hospital or study in the hospital as a doctor. As you guys all know, I graduated this year, 2025, and I sat down for my Russian medical license. And right now I'm a licensed medical doctor in Russia. So right now I can decide to get into their specialization programs. I can study surgery, I can study neurosurgery, I can do anything. In this video I'm going to be telling you practically what the requirements are going to be if you studied in Russia and if you studied outside Russia. Alright, so here are the requirements if you're graduating from a Russian medical university. So basically your primary medical degree. So basically you don't have your degree yet, but your dean will vouch that okay, this student is graduating and they will register you. So the next one is Snilz. Snilz is like a social security number in Russia, and if you are located in Russia, even if you're a foreigner, you have a number called Snilz, which is used to identify you, your documents, and every other process you involve in. And the third one is the passport translation. I believe that if you're a foreigner from a non-Russian speaking country, your passport is in English or French or any other language, so you need to translate and authorize it into Russian language for them to accept it. And then the knowledge of Russian language is very important because you will be writing this in Russian. You can study in a university in English language for 6 years, but if you are going to be a doctor in Russia or if you're going to their specialization, because right now you're going to be mostly in the hospital, they will require that you know how to speak Russian language to a decent level. So now, if you are a foreigner that is coming out with a foreign medical degree from an English-speaking country and you want to sit for this exam, the requirements are almost the same, but you actually have to sit for the Part 5, the preparatory course, to show that okay, you have a working knowledge of Russian language to be able to sit for this. You also need to translate your passport. You need to also legalize and have an apostille on your medical degree from the country of your graduation. So you submit all this to an accreditation center, because universities have accreditation centers. You can see the accreditation centers on their website, contact them and ask them for their specific requirements. But these are the general requirements that most universities require for people that want to sit for the accreditation. All right, let's talk about the steps in accreditation. So the steps are almost the same with accreditations or license examinations worldwide. You have the first, second, and third step. So the first step is an objective multiple choice question that you sit down on the computer and you write. If I have the image, I'm going to be showing it you guys here. They don't allow us to take phones inside there, or I would have taken pictures or videos to be able to show you how the exam is being run. It's a very simple 1 hour exam where you are given, I think 60 questions, multiple choice, to be able to, and the pass mark is 70%. So the second step is the practical aspect of it, where you are given 14 stations. Out of these 14 stations, they choose 5 for you. So it's basically how to give injections, how to examine patients, how to take care of emergency situations in the hospital. If somebody is having a hypersensitive crisis, or gastrointestinal bleeding, or all these other things, I'm going to be putting more information about that in the description for people that want to actually study for the exam. So, and then the third step is situational task, where you are giving is like a USMLE type question, where you're giving a big clinical scenario, and then you're giving options. What will you administer to this patient in this particular time? So the exam itself is in Russian language, like I already said. So even if you studied in English, and maybe some of these things for us that studied in English language, it was a little bit difficult for us to get it. But if you know basic Russian language, you can be able to convert this into English in your head and solve them. So it's not as difficult as people think. Alright, so I'm going to be ending the video with what can you do with a primary medical license in Russia. So like I've already said before, with the primary medical license in Russia, you can get the license. If you're graduating in Russia, you can get the license. And if you're going to another country, like for example, Australia or the UK or even your home country, it's going to be easier for you to register with the medical license board because you have a license or an accreditation in a country somewhere. It's more difficult for people that just have their primary medical degrees, their MDs or MBBS, to be registered with foreign medical boards if they don't have a license in that country. So the license is something that even if you're not staying in the country, you can use it anywhere in the world. Say, I have experience, or at least I have a medical license in a particular country. So for the people that actually want to stay in the country, yes, if you graduate from Russia, you want to stay in Russia, or you're coming outside Russia to stay, and you just want to pass the accreditation and work, then this is like the primary requirements for doctors in Russia. Of course, you're going to need other things like Medik Test, which is like the permanent residency, but like the document that proves that you're a doctor is not even your your primary medical degree. It is the license that shows that, okay, you are employable, and this is the primary requirements that many people that are working in Russia, many employers will first even require before even asking about your immigration status. So, and then for the people that want to go into their residency programs, their specializations, Russian specializations are very easy to get into as a foreigner. If you're a Russian student and you graduated here, it's a competition, but if you're coming outside, it's easy for you to get, and this is one of the requirements. I think until 2023, Russian universities used to take some students without accreditation. Some programs will take you without accreditation. But right now, it is a primary requirement for every student that is getting into the into the medical field, into the hospital, to have this accreditation to be able to work. So I'm going to be linking the program that I used to study. It's called Medik Test. It has all the questions, about 5,000 questions for the first step, and then about I think 4,000 or something questions for the second step. It depends on which field you're from. If you studied dentistry, or if you studied basically prophylaxis or any of these things, your questions are going to be different from mine because I studied general medicine. So I'm going to be linking the application in the description below, and if you have any questions on registration or on how I study for mine, you can leave them in the comment section below, and I will try to answer you. My email is always open. If you have a question, email me and we can talk and solve your problem for accreditation. So thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry that I have not made a video in a long time. I graduated and I was trying to settle down, and hopefully I'm going to settle down very soon and make more videos like this to be able to help people that want to come into Russia, or the people that are my juniors and are graduating, to be able to be guided by this information that I took a lot of time to be able to get. So thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video.